Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the call. My name is Dr. Kurt Fisnick. I've got a panel of people that are going to be speaking tonight. And really, what we're talking tonight is keeping your vision and, keeping your focus on what we consider to be the important stuff. This is the Sisel World Team training call. Today is October 5th, 2018. And, I just tell people that I've been a chiropractor now for 32 years, and even before I graduated from chiropractic college, I had a coach. I hired a coach because I knew that I was good at chiropractic, and I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that I was pretty good at what I did. And even in college, I had people driving 3 hours one way to come see me at the chiropractic college. But I didn't know business. I didn't know how to be an accountant. I didn't know how to be a bookkeeper, any of those types of things. And so when I was going to chiropractic college, I hired a consultant to help me, a coach to help me do what I do. And the other thing is that you can learn from their experience and you can share that with other people. So that's why we do these calls, is really to help other people. And so, even though there's a lot of chiropractors that are really, really good, many of them just really don't have that business sense. They love helping people, but they just don't succeed in what they're doing because they don't have that business sense. And so when I was in my practice, you just got to imagine there's a lot of things to do. You have to know how to adjust people. You have to diagnose people. You have to know how to take x-rays. You know how to process x-rays, all these different things. And so when you're looking at all those different things, you have to wear different hats. And so what happened is that, I'm gonna share a little story. 20 years ago, I raced cars. And a lot of you that know me didn't know that, but I raced cars. I raced cars on a dirt track like this, and we ran around this little circle, quarter-mile track, and you can imagine that quarter mile, you really don't get a lot of straightaway. You don't get a lot of speed built up, and so you just have your floor to the pedal, and you're just going balls to the walls, and you're just flying along the track, and I didn't have the nicest car. I didn't have the fastest car. And so I really had to think about strategy. How am I going to win? Knocking the other guys off the track, basically, so I could pass them. And I know, Trevor, you're laughing over there. But as I was doing that, as I was racing, and if any of you have raced a car, you see that cement wall behind the cars over there. A lot of people, as they're going around the track, they're worrying about smashing into that wall. That's all they're worried about. And so what I would do is when they were thinking about that, I was thinking about, hey, how am I going to pass them? And so when they went down, I'd go up. When they went up, I went down, and I could get past them. And my focus was that I had to focus on what I was doing instead of focusing on my fear. And Katie, I know you were trying to figure out, where am I going with all this? And so many people, they focus on their fear. They focus on, what if I hit that wall? What if I crash? And that's what happens to a lot of people when they get into business. When they start their own business, that's all they're focusing on. They're focusing about hitting that wall. They're focusing on the little things that really don't matter. And they focus on obstacles in their life. And so what I'm going to try and tell people, and what we're learning from this, is that you don't want to focus on your fears. What you want to do is you want to focus on opportunity. And that's what we're going to share tonight. Is we're going to share a couple stories of people who have looked at the opportunity and really built something on it. And so if you're a new distributor and you're listening to this tonight, think about, are you building your business based on fear, or are you building it based on the opportunity? And are you in a bad place? Do you have some, problems with time, money, all these different things? what's holding you back, and kind of look beyond that and look at the future. Focus on the opportunity and not on your fear. So with that, I'm gonna go run over to Trevor. If you want to, I'm gonna unmute you here, Trevor. And Trevor, welcome to the call from way down in Australia. If I'm going to unshare this picture here. How are you doing tonight?
Great, thanks, Kurt. Thank you.
You bet.
I just noticed that first car in one of those slides that you showed had Champ written on the front. I think that might have been you, mate. So
you got it right.
I really like that point you brought up, Kurt, about the opportunity and where to focus, I suppose. And I guess I've got the blessing of hindsight to see where Tom's former company was in new ways. So I can see where Sisel's going to be and what it's going to become. So if I was to sum up Sisel in one word, I'd say it's special. It's just special. And I come across Tom Mauer back in 1992, so that's about 26 years ago. And back then, Tom had the mantra of researching and research, and he had a incredible range of products, and I took a couple of notes here, mate, so I'm quite professional here. So they were pretty extraordinary, and I actually watched his former company grow to great heights. At one point in time, it was doing near $1 billion. So we haven't seen that yet with Sisel, and I just want to sort of portray that picture that what's going to become is a sleeping giant, really. So Sisel really is going to become a giant. I've seen small meetings of 150 people. We don't even hold meetings like that here now in Australia yet. And within a 10-year period, I saw those meetings to expand to thousands of people. So my vision for Sisel is not really a vision at all. It's actually a reality. The reality is that Sisel will become a giant. And just for those who are new to Sisel and new distributors and using the products and feeling how special they are, I'd just like to convey the message that is to really focus a little bit on the business as well, because it's really easy to get tied up in the products because they are so extraordinary. Isn't that true?
It really is true. That's where we want to go, is focus on that, and really just the value, like I've been telling people, put the value in yourself, though, because you're the leader, and that's why people are joining. They don't buy the company, they don't buy the product, they're buying Trevor.
Oh, that's true, mate. And that's with everyone involved in the business. And
every single one of you that's out there in listening, watching this video. And would you, for everybody that's watching this on live Facebook, would you just add a little comment where you're from? Hit the little smiley face, hit a like button. Let us know where you're from, participate. And let's get you involved with these webinars in the future. We can get you all in as panelists sharing your story on what you're doing too. Let's run down to Michael. Michael is also down in Australia. And so, Michael, I'm going to unmute you here, and I know we don't have a video of you today, but are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear, if you would. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your vision, where your vision with Sisel and what it's doing for you.
Okay, I've prepared something as Katie requested me to do. It goes for 4 minutes, so I'll start straight away. I'm Michael Seuss. My background: I successfully completed 3 years of a 4-year aeronautical engineering degree at Sydney Uni in 1972. I left due to some life challenges and got a job as a technical assistant at the National Standards Commission for about 3 years. Since then, I studied accountancy, and for most of my working life, I've worked as an accountant or bookkeeper. Along the way, I became a teacher of Maharishi Jyotish, which is Eastern astrology, after which I taught some courses and was a vegetarian cook for 2 years. In 2005, I qualified as a teacher of Transcendental Meditation as founded by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, but I've not taught. In 2014, I got a part-time volunteer position as the production manager and OB techie at Radio RPPFM in Mornington for about 3 years. Problems? Since 2007, I've had some major financial challenges where I lost over $1 million, lost my house, and lived in a refuge for about 3 years. and I now live in a DHS unit, for which I'm very grateful, but it's too small for my needs. Also, my financial education has not been sufficiently completed, either at the objective level or the subjective level. By the subjective level, I mean the need to reframe the non-helpful subconscious programming about money we might have been subjected to via family, friends, or school, such as money doesn't grow on trees, or we can't afford that, or money is the root of all evil, or study hard and get a job. The fact is, if one is good inside, money will expand that to make you a better person, to contribute more, and to promote happiness in yourself and your surroundings. But if one is less than good inside, money will expand that non-goodness and create suffering and shame. By the objective level, I mean the lack of financial education we all should have received, both at home and at school and in post-secondary education as we were growing up to become an adult. The present system we seem to be governed by is that not everyone gets this kind of education, which would teach us about saving, risk management, cash flow, reading balance sheet and profit and loss statements, the types of investments and their respective risk profiles, and financial resource allocation to those investments. I've become aware that most of the children of wealthy families are given a very thorough financial education from as soon as they can read and write, and grow up in an atmosphere of abundance, thus programming their subconscious automatically to a consciousness of abundance. So they simultaneously get the best of both worlds through both subjective and objective means. And I feel we should emulate their example in terms of the ethical and legal means of gaining abundance and wealth at all levels. So, secure and long-lasting wealth is an expression of one's inner self-development, growth, and positive reframing of any subjective, conscious, subconscious money issues, and also of one's consequent increased contribution to one's family, community, country, world, and universe. Solution? Personally, from the subjective side, I'll continue with my transcendental meditation to give me the inner experience of bliss, peace, and happiness, and continue with inner work to address any subconscious, non-helpful programming I have around money. From the objective side, I will promote these excellent and life-supporting Sisel products. The testimonials show benefit people's health and well-being, and the wealth I may thus accumulate will be subject to prudent investment after I continue with my objective means of gaining more useful knowledge about managing and investing my funds. The future? The grand plan is to become an active teacher of Transcendental Meditation and Maharishi Jyotish, to build a Vastu Maharishi Peace Palace to teach in, and to create at least 6 groups of 108,000 Maharishi Yogic flyers in each of India, Australia, USA, Europe, Russia, and China to secure world peace and prosperity, and to allow the disclosure and application of previously suppressed technologies, which will give immense benefit to the universe. That's it.
Wow, Michael, you have a big vision. I love it. I loved hearing you, and a lot of the things that you're saying, you know, it's you kind of emulate some of the things that Robert Kiyosaki talks about. You know, how the average person is taught how to be just a really good employee, right?
Yeah, I went to his talk, and yeah, it's very good. Sort of opens your mind, even though I only went for 2 hours. After Katie very generously gave me her ticket because she wasn't able to go, and also he talks about having mentors. I think he still has a mentor now. And I like your point you made earlier about you having a coach. And I feel as though that's the other meaning of traveling coach. You need to have a coach to help you go forward. And even you know, Tony Robbins, they still have a coach, but they get a very high level of coach. You know, everybody has a coach, no matter what level they come to.
That's exactly it. Everybody has a coach.
And you got to think big. I mean, just a few years ago, I realized, you know, like, especially when you get a bit older, a bit more senior, you think, what have you got to lose? I mean, you know, the worst thing that can happen is, you know, it's not going to happen to exactly to what you go for. But the other point is, you know, that old saying, if you reach for the stars, at least you reach you will at least reach the moon. But if you aim for the moon, you will only get to, maybe London. So that kind of thing. So it's always good to aim high because, you're going to go a lot further than if you didn't aim high.
Right. Well, Michael, thanks for sharing, and we'd love to have you back and just along the way, share your progress, where you've been going, what's been happening, and how you're doing with that progress. I'd love to hear from you again in the future.
Great. Thanks a lot. Yeah. I'm the type of person, I think I inherited it from my father. I like to prepare, not over prepare, but, prepare well. And then it's like creating a good foundation. Like when you're building a house, it's good to have a nice secure foundation before you put the house up. Otherwise the house crumbles. So, I prefer, I want to go through and prepare, all the stuff you need to do, contacting people and all the Facebook training, to do Facebook promotion of Sisel products and all that. And just to get my head around that and become more comfortable. It's like Eric Warr said the other day, the way he got over his introspection, because apparently he's a very introverted person. You wouldn't think it, when you hear him at talks and everything. He said the way he gets over that kind of shyness or introspection is that he gets prepared. Like when he gave that talk on his during one of the company events. He learned it off by heart. He went over it 500 times. And so when he went on stage, he just had that internal confidence and belief in himself because he had that secure foundation of the fact that he knew his speech off by heart and he'd gone through it 500 times, and he won the award. They had a competition or something on at the time and he won the competition. So preparation is key.
Preparation really is key. I'm gonna just add this, and then we'll move on to the next panelist here. But a friend of mine who he consults with tens of thousands of chiropractors. I'm gonna have him on as a guest on one of our future calls. He couldn't make it tonight, but he was saying that when he first decided he was going to be a speaker, he decided, well, I can do this, and so he went up on stage and he looked out at the audience and he passed out. he fell over on the stage and he decided, like you just said, I'm going to be a little bit better prepared the next time. But he's one of my coaches now. He's one of my coaches. So, all right. Well, thanks, Michael. Great. I'm going to mute you out and we're going to run over to Paul and Sandy. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Sandy, how are you doing tonight?
Good, thanks. Paul's outside working, sorry, so he can't be in here today.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll do the story. So basically, our background is I'm a hairdresser. I've been hairdressing for over 35 years now. And our story started with our son becoming very, very ill when he was 12. Bit of his background, he was born 10 weeks premature and was born with hydrocephalus. So that's basically when the front ventricles block and they have to be shunted. So he was shunted at 6 weeks and he wasn't even supposed to be born at that stage. And at age 12, he'd had 6 brain surgeries. So at that stage, we had decided that me being in the hairdressing industry, Paul being what I call jack of all trades and master of them all. He is a truck driver basically by trade, but we always fitted in really well together with doing business things. So we had this opportunity of taking over a hair and beauty franchise business. So we thought, great, let's go and do that. We really feel that we can make some great money out of this. The first week we were in this business, we actually shifted from the Sunshine Coast to Toowoomba to do this business. So we had no family by, they were about 2 hours away. And the first week of being in that new business, our son got hit in the head at school with a basketball, which basically then he had major, major problems. No doctor could help us. They couldn't work out what was going on. And then a doctor basically come back from England and said, yes, most shunted kids get over drainage. So no, I think it was in 9 months, they had done 11 brain surgeries on him. And in that 3-year time frame of him being so sick, he had just so much pain and nobody could understand his life. It was just terrible. So he tried to take his life quite a few times. We didn't know what to do, where to go and get help. And in the end, the doctors said, there's nothing more we can do for you. So we were travelling at that stage and Paul was doing the rep work. And a hairdresser had said to us, look, why don't you try these products, which was Tom Mao's former company. So we said, we will try anything. So a miracle happened. It changed his life. And then after Tom sold the company, we found the products weren't working, and Tom was always our hero. So I kept watching what his new company was doing, and then decided, yes, I'm going to get some of these products, because our son had gone back on a lot of analgesics again, because he was getting a lot of headaches again and just wasn't getting any results with Tom's former company. So I got the Sisel, and within 3 weeks he was off all his analgesics again and completely changed. It was amazing. So we know how fantastic Tom's products are and what they can do to help other people. And so that's Paul's and my dream, is just to be able to help people change their lives. And we live in a fifth wheeler. We've been living in our fifth wheeler for 6 years now, and we actually were in a situation where from the franchise that we're in, we actually lost everything. So with all the hospital expenses with our son, we were in debt of 120,000. My mum mortgaged her house and everything for us for that business. And every day I would think, how am I ever going to pay this back? And Paul, being the person that he is, he always visualizes. He's always very, very positive, and he always would say to me, a miracle's coming. I know it's coming. And it did. So money come to us when we really, really needed it and got us out of that situation. So, if you just keep believing, things can change in your life. And that's one of our dreams, is to, help people change their lives and believe, just like Michael's saying, you believe, things will come to you. So that's our passion, is to be able to travel in our fifth wheeler and help other people change their lives. And we know Sisel is tremendous, is going to go huge in Australia. So that's our story. Thank you.
You bet. Well, Sandy, what a touching story when you think about how your son, he was just in such tough shape like that, and to come back to be I know he's gotten awards for his music, and to be just such a great adult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And, and Sisel, like you said, I mean, we've got so much opportunity in front of us. And just like you were saying, if we can take and just keep our focus on that and present that to people and help them so they can move forward. So thanks, Sandy. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I'm going to run up to Katie now and have her tell her story. Katie, you've got a story of your own that I really feel everybody needs to hear. They need to hear, how did you really get involved with this industry? How did you get involved with Tom Mauer?
Yeah, thanks, Kurt. So I've always been interested in preventative health from a fairly young age, but it became very pronounced when I was 21 because my father was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's at the age of 54 and started deteriorating very quickly. And at that time, we were looking for solutions, asking questions, why was this so, how could this happen in somebody so young? And I guess that kind of sent me on a journey, and I started exploring all the things that one can do to optimize their health and prevent illness and disease. And that included, looking at heavy metals and toxins in personal care products and that sort of thing. That's when I was presented with a toxic guide, which I then had picked up at the local gym, and I took it home and started going through the personal care products I was using at that time. And so, I was going through the personal care products at that time and found that they had a lot of nasty ingredients in them. So I then thought, well, I really need to get on board with some really safe products. And so then what happened was I then contacted the lady that had left the guide in the gym, and I called her up and she came over and said, listen, I've got some, these products. And I thought, oh, okay, it sounds really good. And at first I didn't actually want to buy them because I thought, I could go to different health stores and purchase the products of my own accord. But then I realized, well, it was better to get them all in a one-stop shop. And so I called her back and I said, listen, okay, I'll purchase the products. And I started using them, and she said, well, you can get them for free and there's a business attached to it. And I said, no, I'm not really interested in that. I just want to use them for my own personal use. So I started using the products, and after about 2 months, I was so thrilled with the results. And I felt they could really help. And also at that time, my dad's illness had started progressing quite rapidly. And the toothpaste that Tom's previous toothpaste was safe enough to swallow and ingest. And if you know anything about toothpaste, there's warnings on the packet, do not ingest them. They're very dangerous to be swallowing the actual product. And so I was able to use that toothpaste on my father because at that time he was unable to brush his own teeth and spit out. So we started using Tom's toothpaste with him. And, I was so thrilled with the products, with the results, the quality, that I called her back and said, so how do you get the products for free again? And so she explained that to me. And back then we didn't even have the internet or anything like this. We had a flip folder, would go around to people in shops, friends, family, whoever I could, talk to and share the overview with them. And, built a team of probably, it was around about 80 people. And it was, that time, I've just got a photo here, Kurt. I don't know if the viewers can see it, but there is Tom Mauer and myself and my partner when I was 26 years of age, met Tom in Melbourne, and he was talking about the future of science and where it's going to take us in terms of prevention and, age reversal and just all that sort of stuff. And I was absolutely just taken back and in awe, and just knew how big his company was going to be with his science and knowledge and passion and meaning, and really truly wanting to make a difference to people's lives. And that is a really point of difference. It's not just another company. There's people in there that genuinely care, have a genuine passion, and really want to change people's lives, as you've heard Sandy talk today, and Michael and Trevor. So then I got started in that business, and then I guess I was really upset when his company got sold in 2006. I won't say really, I'd say devastated, actually. I noticed the product started getting reformulated after the first 2 weeks. The company was sold to a company that had shareholders, and now we have a conflict of interest, because if we're trying to make money for shareholders, how are we going to produce a good quality product? Well, the truth is it's not. The money's going to come first. So then consequently the products did start getting reformulated, and I found that my favorite skincare product at that time had the key ingredient ergothymine removed due to a cost issue. And of course the product was no longer as good, and therefore there was no promise that the products would continue to get good, if anything, continue to go the other way. So again, like what Sandy shares this morning, is that it didn't do the same for her son. It certainly wasn't the same for me, and I lost, my kind of heart wasn't in it anymore. And then Tom started Sisel, and I came across Sisel and got on board, and I've actually been with Sisel. I was actually joined Sisel before it opened here in Australia. So it was probably 2011, perhaps I was involved. So 7 years I've been with them, and now we're just seeing massive change and momentum. And like exactly what Trevor shared tonight or this morning on the call is that, you know, Sisel is a sleeping giant. I mean, if you know the power of the products and the mission, the passion, the love that this company has, there's just no stopping Sisel. It's just going to get absolutely huge. So the opportunity to earn income and help others earn income is massive. And I feel, as Trevor said, and I agree 100%, it's easy to get caught up in the products because they're absolutely fabulous and just get awesome results. But the business opportunity is really just as exciting, because once you start earning income and have money coming in, the things that you can do to help more people and change the planet and help the world is tremendous. So if you're listening or if you've been watching, you know, I encourage you to really take a serious look at Sisel, and, you know, don't take my word for it or Trevor's or Sandy's or Michael's or Kurt's. Do your own research and try and look past anything. You know, people are always going to say some negative things, but, you know, really ask, you know, dig deep and look at the passion and the mission and the people that are associated with. And then, you know, I think you'd find that it's something you'd want to be associated with and join the mission.
Exactly. Well, thanks, Katie. And I know your heart's in the right place in building that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt.
You know, folks, as you listen to this, and again, you know, if you're watching on Facebook, you're listening to this recording, you know, tell us where you're from, where you're listening from. It's always nice to see, and we'll respond to everybody. You know, Katie was talking a little bit about the products, and you know, when she first got involved with taking nutritional products, somebody presented a network marketing product to her, and she thought, well, I can just go to the store and buy the same thing. But there's a difference. There's a difference, and I'll just share a little bit about astragalus. Astragalus is a plant that a lot of companies, they'll take and they'll grind up the plant. They'll grind up the whole plant, the root and everything. And it's when they do that, they're putting the extracts in there. The active ingredients are in there. But in order to take just the one active, you have to have 12,000 pounds of astragalus just to yield 2.5 pounds of the cycloastragalonol, which is one of the actives. That's why this active costs $84,000 per kilo. And so you can see that if we have a company like Sisel and we take and we use just the extract, we're going to have a lot more powerful product because we don't have to deal with all that other garbage. And so a lot of people, they'll go to the store and they say, well, I can get astragalus right here. It's not the same thing. It doesn't have the power. And then on the other side of it, when you grind up the plant, it's got all that cellulose in there as well. And humans don't have an enzyme called cellulase, so we can't actually dissolve cellulose. And so if the active ingredient is found contained within that cellulose, how in the world are you going to absorb it? So those are some things that you want to remember. Those are some things that you want to look at. And then synergistically, you put different products together, different ingredients, different actives, and you can actually get rid of side effects that you might have from some plants. Some plants, if you go on the internet and you look it up, it says, oh, it has this side effect. Well, not if you take this specific extract out and you combine it with other ones. So those are some of the things that we're doing with Sisel. And like Trevor and Sandy and Paul are talking about, and what Michael's talking about, we have a huge vision of a company that's going to be massive, massive. And we haven't even begun to reach our peak yet. So folks, thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for being part of what we're doing. I really appreciate you all being here. And get this video out to other people. Share it with other people. Thank you.